Hey, Dr. McNamara here, and today I wanted to go over a nice hip opening routine to get you warmed up for your exercise, especially lower body. I'm going to give you a beginner routine as well as a more advanced type of routine that I personally do, but let's start with the beginner. So first thing first, we want to work all the different ranges of motion of the hip. So that's flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, as well as internal and external rotation. So we're working all three planes of motion, the sagittal, the frontal, as well as the transverse plane. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to work that internal external rotation. For beginners, I suggest you just kind of sit on the ground just like this and just work the knees into an internal and external rotation. This feels really good, really opens up the hips. It's really nice beginning warm up. It's getting some blood flowing. Okay, I generally do about 10 to 20 reps of this, and then the level 2 version of this, to start working your way up to eventually get to that advanced level, is you can just kind of sit so you're a little bit more upright. So kind of mimicking a standing position, and then the same kind of thing. So you see I get a little bit more range with my hips elevated. So that would be the level 2 version. Another good way to, before getting into advanced, is if you put your weight on your hands, you can get some good internal and external rotation that way. But eventually, the advanced version is going to look more like this, and I'll show you that again towards the end of the video. So after you get those hips opened, we've done a few of these guys. We're going to want to work the frontal plane and adduction and abduction. So for this one, get into kind of a kneeling type of squat, and then you're just going to kind of put a little weight, get a little stretch in there, and then just switch. And you want to keep this moving so it's dynamic. We don't want to hold the stretch for 30 seconds or anything like that. We're trying to warm everything up, okay? Okay. So there is that exercise. And the final one I want you guys to do is to work that hip flexion and extension, so that sagittal plane type of hip movement. And for this one, we'll start like this. Lunge to get that stretch in the front of the leg. And then we're going to go back, and you'll feel a nice stretch on the other leg on the opposite way. So just keep kind of running back and forth through these. And this is a great way to get those hip flexors and those hip extensors nice and loose. On the other side, it would look just like this. Okay. Simple as that. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys the more advanced version of the hip opening stretch sequence. This is the flow that I like to use before my lower body days in particular. And what I do to start is I get into the deep squat, just like this, okay? Try to get as low as you can, and try to make sure you have a nice kind of erect low back as possible. And the first thing, we're gonna work internal and external rotation, just like those beginner exercises. We're gonna work them just like this. I like this because it's weight bearing, so it's mimicking more of a real life functional type of movement. So it's building strength as well as building that range. So this is more difficult, so be careful when trying this. So I do about 10 of these. Then I like to get into that little side squat. And then we just switch back and forth. Feel a nice stretch kind of in those adductors as well as the hamstrings for this one, okay? And again, I'll rep this out about 10 times or so, about 5 times each side. And then last, so the more advanced version of the flexion extension, we're gonna go into that squat, that split squat. Really try to squeeze through the glute and get as low as you can. It's the same kind of thing. We'll stay there, come here, back up to the front. This one's pretty difficult. And come back here, back to the front. And I'll show you the other side what that looks like. Okay, so there's some dynamic hip warm-up that you can do. Try adding that to your workout beforehand, and you'll notice a lot of benefits in terms of mobility and strength. Thank you.